Hi, everybody. This is Pete Delatorre, host and creator of The Pete Delatorre Show, and welcome to Blockchain Talk. Today is session 6. Well, we're going to talk about decentralized identifiers and how they are already impacting the media industry. Today's program is brought to you by Blockchain Ecosystem and powered by CrowdPoint Technologies. My co-host every week is Sean O'Brien Brem, co-founder and chairman of CrowdPoint Technologies. And our special guest today is Aby Alexander, the USA president for Thompson Broadcast, a more than 100-year broadcast and media company. Aby is also the author of a book called Blockchain Simplified, Disruptive Technology that will change your business. I'm going to invite you now to sit back and listen to our conversation. All right, let's move forward with session 6 of Blockchain Talk. Again, I'm here with my co-host Sean O'Brien Brem, who is, we're on this journey together, and it's been an amazing road so far. We've had some amazing guests, amazing conversations, and today we have the honor of bringing our special guest, Aby Alexander, who is a big media guy, president USA for Thompson Broadcast. First of all, Sean, welcome to the show, and then I'll let you introduce and give more of a setup for our special guest today, Aby Alexander.
Yeah, we are. Look, is not only Aby Alexander a great friend, but he's a great leader and entrepreneur, and even a visionary in blockchain. In fact, Aby, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit. Aby wrote a book about the blockchain. He's got a great book about the blockchain, and you're going to be hearing more about that book with CrowdPoint as we're putting that to a training module and working together on it. Aby is one of the kindest, most professionals, senior executives, and sometimes I like to emulate just my leadership style from Aby Alexander. So I think everybody's going to get a big kick out of learning about Aby today.
Absolutely. So, Aby, we talked a little bit before getting going here on the program, but if you can give us a little bit more of an overview of Thompson, the organization and what you're doing, and what drives you to do what you do.
Thank you, Pete, and thank you, my dear friend Sean, for having me here. And it's an honor and a privilege, and my humble humility that you invited me to be part of this. I'm really, really, really thrilled to be part of this. And just to give you a little bit of background, Thompson Broadcast is a 100-plus-year-old French company. We have been manufacturing transmitters, and you name a country, pretty much our existence is there. In the traditional over-the-air broadcast, and we manufacture and distribute broadcast infrastructure all across the world. We are also looking at 2018. One of my good friend, Ilyas Akbar Ali, he bought the company. He's based in Madagascar. His group called Group Supremad bought the company Thompson Broadcast in 2018. And we were close friends for a long time, and we served on a couple of boards together. And we were just brainstorming, and he said, Aby, I want you to help us to enter into the US market. And at that time, I was also working and also co-owner of Extreme Solutions, as well as we started a cybersecurity company, which Sean knows very well, called Stream Security. And we managed quite a lot of enterprise clients during that time. And we are bringing cybersecurity and also broadcast into the mix. So when we looked at broadcast, the traditional OTA, which is called the over-the-air television, there's quite a lot of things are changing in the broadcast industry, especially with the new standards that is coming in, and also what we call the repack. Repack is where the T-Mobiles of the world, or the 5Gs, took a particular spectrum, and FCC did a reverse auction on that. And most of the media companies that are sitting on that spectrum were asked to move out of that particular channel, and they were given a new channel. So the transmitter sales have gone huge in the country, and that is tapering down with the new repack coming to a close. But there is a low power transmitter repack also coming on board. So when we look at multiple tracks, this broadcast industry is going to boom quite a bit, especially with the new standards called the ATSC 3.0, or it's called the Next Gen TV. What it basically does is it combines the power of radio frequency in addition to the power of IP. So imagine the connecting the bridge, bridging the digital divide. So people who do not have the high broadband in various sites, like in Florida, you have Everglades, which there is no way to get internet connectivity there unless through a satellite or a very high range Wi-Fi, which is impossible to get there. So with the RF signal, you can bring in very good, powerful video content into that region, and also connect them through a back channel with a LTE or a 5G connection or a 4G connection back for the data. So that combination of RF and IP makes a huge, huge paradigm shift for the broadcasters and also the media content. So I looked at all this landscape and I said, oh my God, we are sitting on a gold mine here. This is like internet in 20 years ago. You know, we are building something that we can make a difference. So I jumped in and I started looking at this, and I said, why can't we take this production and put it into the cloud? So we created a whole service with a couple of partners called Channel in the Cloud. So I can sit in my basement and bring in video quality, broadcast quality video directly through the broadcast chain and the IP connectivity into the household with the ATSC 3.0 or the next gen video. So we are doing some pilots along remote learning. We're also doing some pilots in augmenting the school systems to reach students who cannot get broadband connectivity. We are also doing some pilots in telemedicine side, and also OTT, which is the over-the-top streaming video application. So it's a very exciting space that we are in.
Quick question.
Yes.
I started my broadcasting career doing these talk shows on your traditional, broadcast at AM station. They were also doing it online, and you start to see a lot of the traditional, traditional broadcast dwindling down, and a lot of people are saying that's a thing of the past. Everything is now going 100% digital. But it sounds to me what you're talking about here is obviously utilizing all the digital things that are going on now, but taking the very best from traditional broadcasting, the stuff that was maybe even underutilized when it was out there, and connecting it with the things that are happening now. Is that pretty much what's going on?
Yes, absolutely. Because the standards that we are in different markets today are a 20-year-old standards that was there. This is prior to internet, So now the new standards with the ATSC 3.0 is the new standards with better compression video technology, 4K video coming into your household. Imagine you're watching your favorite game or a Super Bowl, right? You have multiple camera angles coming at you. You can watch it at the same time, or a best quality video over the air, not through internet. So the cost of delivery becomes much cheaper over the air. So better audio quality, a Dolby sound, better video quality, and giving IP connectivity all at the same time. So if you're watching, let's say, I can target a DMA in a particular location. I can target that DMA to specific devices in the household. So give you an example. With the ATSC 3.0, the Next Gen TV, I can take a DMA and say, there is a particular user looking for a Range Rover in this particular organization or in this household, I can target a particular Range Rover ad to that person or that household versus sending a Honda Prius ad or a Tesla ad. So you can be very specific with the DMA side. You could also use it for emergency broadcast system. There are multiple uses with this new standard. So better quality of video, better quality of audio, and remote production part of it. It's a huge paradigm shift that you are seeing in the broadcast.
This is fascinating, Sean. This is exciting, and now let's talk about how blockchain is supporting and will be supporting everything Aby just discussed right now.
Yeah. So when you think about it, I'll use a great example. What Aby is talking about is the fundamentals of how we look at something, a non-fungible token. Let me give an example. The human identity we talked about last week is a decentralized ID. The decentralized ID was created by you for you. You're the only one that owns that. And all your data associated with your decentralized ID are data attributes. So for example, what you're able to do with the power of big data is Land Rover, Range Rover knows what their ideal customer profile looks like. Obviously, you know your own ideal customer profile because you know the things that you like and you don't like. So when you put your decentralized ID on there and you take all the other attributes that have been gathered about you by big tech around the world, you can assemble those together in the form of what we call a sigma. Like think of 6 sigma, degrees of desirability away from the main from the fulcrum. Well, let's take Aby's example of a Range Rover. Obviously, a Range Rover is going to require a certain income bracket, right? It's going to require a geospatial. You preferably want to be near a Range Rover dealership. It's going to require temporal. It's got to be like you've got to be in the market time to buy one, and then it's got to also determine, thematically, if this is the kind of car that you usually buy. Do you buy SUVs? So now all of a sudden, that time that you want to buy a car, and that kind of car is a Range Rover, and it's semantic aligned with the fact that you like SUVs, because you may have just bought SUVs, but may have not bought a Range Rover in the past, and it's spatially there's one near you, that is non-fungible because it's unique. So now all of a sudden you have a non-fungible token that's being generated, which now all of a sudden an identity can control that back to Aby's interface and go, here are the things about me that are non-fungible. I'm willing to accept this advertising, but if I buy this car, I want a discount for doing so because I've supplied to you those things that I'm interested. The decentralized ID combined with ATSC 3.0 redefines distributed advertising. And that's extremely exciting. And I know Aby's got a bunch to say about it because he wrote the book on blockchain. Aby?
Right. Absolutely right, Sean. I mean, when we look at the traditional model of customer acquisition, right? A dealership that has the brand new Range Rover that is sitting there, how much money that they spend on a blanketed advertisement just to send it out to people, hoping that somebody will catch it, right? With the power of ATSC 3.0 and connecting with the blockchain, that's what I was very excited about. What Sean is doing is that fungible token that you're seeing, that you have that ledger, the distributed ledger, you're looking at it and says, Aby is in a market for Range Rover, or Sean is in a market for Range Rover, and then automatically connects these two dots together and makes that available. And that once that connection is made and you're accepted it, and now you have a discount that they can give, and the dealer knows that he's coming here, and from the TV I can press on a button and say, I want to test drive this. Now we have taken closer action on top of that. Now I'm going there as a very, very serious buyer, and then there is no haggling in between, right? So the sales cycle is much shortened, right? So these are the huge advantages that the distributed ledger and the blockchain can bring in because my identity is valuable. because
Absolutely.
that data is not, it is not monetized today. And I don't get anything out of it today, right? And that's what I really love about what Sean is doing in the blockchain part, where my data is very valuable. So if I can get monetized for that, give out a discount coupon.
Or get discounts on the car you love.
Well, think about
Exactly.
it. Abby said something so dead on that I don't know if the viewers picked up on it. Abby talked about the cost of sales and the cost of keeping inventory on the lot. So at the end of the day, the power, I had to read a book when I was working with a company called Intel Corporation on something in the past about the theory of constraints. It was by the name of Eleo Goldratt. If you've not read it, excellent book. What he talks about fundamentally is that the cycle time of anything is equal to the process time plus the queue time. So let's talk about the cycle time of buying a car. The process time of buying a car and getting the paperwork done, getting your, proving out that you've got the money or you've got the loan and doing it. It's literally minutes. It's literally, but the queue time of the haggling and looking and trying to find
that's
this
what
out,
takes forever. Yeah.
it takes forever. And all that time, Abby said something so powerful. Do you think Abby, the owner of the Land Rover dealership, wants to have long queue times of the car not moving?
Yes, absolutely
Exactly.
not. Right? Yeah, exactly.
No way.
I wrote down the word when Abby was talking now, the word precision.
Mm-hmm.
It's precision, it's time, it's productive, it's efficient.
Right.
And we're not wasting anybody's time here. Right?
Exactly. So when you say, so if you want a sapphire blue HSE with tan leather, with white leather interior, I know my wife has been talking about one recently, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm hearing those are all her semantic alignment, thematic alignment, temporal and spatial. So now all of a sudden with a 20-mile radius where we live, she's got her conditions and the Range Rover dealership were like, wait a minute, I can move this right now. My cost of sales, remember the power when you read Abby's book about the middleman. Yes. Now, sales guys, I'm sorry about this, but you've got to figure out how to up your game pretty soon, because when Pete decides he wants to buy an Aston Martin, he knows the exact color, and he can get directly to the manufacturer that can direct him directly to the Range Rover dealership. Middlemen are going away. Mm-hmm. So, but it's okay because there's lots of other opportunities somewhere else. Give us a call. We'll help you out with that. But the point is what Abby is saying is so dead on. And I really believe that the power of the internet and ATS 3.0, when you can literally click on something and say, yeah, I want that, and align it based upon machine learning from that, the real-time smart contracts, I believe this with my heart and soul, are going to really drive inflation backwards. Right. Because as we disintermediate all the intermediaries that add costs, removing those costs not only produces so much profit that people are going to be willing to reduce the cost because of the margin they're still able to make. I'll let Abby kind of add on to that.
Right. That's so true. Look at today's advertising game, right? So to advertise on Super Bowl, it's around $1 million and change, or 2 million or plus for a 30-second or a 60-second ad. Now, imagine if we have much more data that comes out of it and says, now I have a carousel of advertisements that I can advertise in the DMA with the people who are willing to buy these kind of products. Mm-hmm. The cost of advertisement has gone much higher. Now you have broadcasters who can reap a lot more content, price for the content much better in that data stream. I'll give you another example is Spotify. Like, for example, music industry is utilizing this blockchain, and very much there are a couple of pilots that are going on where there are particular tracks that are being played. And there is no way, I mean, there is a way, but it's not accurate enough. There is a 15 to 20% discrepancy. If Spotify plays this particular song 1 million times or 100 million times, how do you know? You got to trust them. Now, if you connect that with the blockchain, automatically the owner of, or the record company or the artist can know exactly in a real-time scenario how many times it played. Right there, they get the report. Now you have taken all the work out of the middleman and the fudging the numbers and all those kind of things. It's accurate data.
Exactly.
Now, with that data is very powerful for everybody.
Oh, but then you develop precise history.
Correct.
You develop good information, good data, not things that everybody is estimating on listeners and people that are reviewing. It's history, it's data, historical data that makes sense,
Right.
and then it allows you to make better decisions in the future.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, real quick, we're getting a lot of new viewers that are joining us every single week. We talk a lot about smart contract, and some of them are still catching up. Can you do a very brief overview of what a smart contract is, just really basic?
Yeah, it's algebra. If, then, else. If you do this, then I will do that. Else we'll do this. And it's a series of if, then, else's that are held in micro little chunks. So the value of that is when you combine, now all of a sudden, a very simple if, then, else is stored in the blockchain as a smart contract. Then the assembly of all those if, then, else, I call it the 3-year-old logic. Well, what if, have you ever babysat a little kid that goes, well, what if I'm walking down the street and an alligator comes out and then a UFO comes, and then would you run? You get all these if that, it's the love of kids, ask you 16 different questions. Well, the beautiful thing about the blockchain is it's not going to get annoyed. So if somebody wants to set up a smart contract with, well, it's like when Harry met Sally. For technology. What do I mean by that? And there's a great scene in when Harry Met Sally, when she spends 5 minutes changing the order. Well, does it come with or without? And oh, by the way, no, hold that on the side. And the waitress is trying to keep up on all the bizarre logic, right? And then she says, well, would you like this? She goes, no, only if. It's like a long diatribe. That's what the blockchain allows you to do. So if you're going to buy a car, let's say you're really picky and you don't want just a sapphire blue Range Rover, but you want a sapphire blue with a matte covering on it. And then you want the HSC, but you don't like the lights on the HSC, but you really like the lights from another model, but you like the aftermarket taillights on that one. And then on top of that, you like the flare. All of a sudden, all the things that you do are now contractual requirements, which then have direct connection to an inventory database called a material resource or material requirements planning tool, which talks directly into a warehouse management system. They commit and say, yep, we got all those parts based upon labor and the people that are available. Here's your price. I mean, it's going to be the when Harry met Sally. For all these wonderful women out there, like the one I'm married to right now, and you want to have 16 variations on what you want because you know what you like, you're going to love the blockchain because you're going to be able to customize and reconcile on anything you want to purchase in real time, and it's going to save a lot of time and hassle. So I hope that's a great way of describing a smart contract.
No, I love it. It's very simple, very basic to the point. And, we want to continue to do that for the benefit of the viewers. So many are so excited about what's going on, and they feel that, a lot of these things are going over their heads, but we want to, make sure that we don't lose them in the process and we can keep them motivated and understand what's going on. And I think that, Sean, you're doing a fantastic job. Aby, this is, I might recruit you to be on every other week here. I mean, the stuff that you're talking about is just fantastic. We got a few minutes left, guys. I want to go back to the blockchain and what is happening today with media, and where do you think it could go to?
Well, I'm going to let Aby Alexander. Not only did he write the book on it, but he knows pretty much everything about media. So I'll let Aby handle that one.
So in the media side, so if you take it transactional wise, so there is the content. So there are multiple ways that you can have royalties for the content that is happening. The statistics of the content. There are multiple avenues of the content itself that can be available. Like, for example, digital rights management. Let's say HBO is putting up a big fight, right? And from that fight onwards, let's unpack that fight. So HBO they have a whole production team at let's say Madison Square Garden. They take the video and take that and compress it, encode it, and send it out in a live stream out to the universe, going through the cloud. that particular chain, that particular process is a very costly process. Approximately around $3 per minute per hour, the transaction to encode it, put it into different formats, and send it out to the whole process. So now, if you have a distributed video kind of encoding sessions, all trusted areas. So this is all happening today. There are companies who are testing these in a blockchain environment. So they will be completely trusted, and they have a public and a private key, and they can only encrypt and encode to the format that they want to be given to. So there's it's a peer-to-peer network that'll be completely trusted by the video, as well as the blockchain enabled. So once you get that, and then it sends it out, and the user sitting at home have to connect instead of a DRM, they can connect through a blockchain, opens up that video stream. So now it does not have any piracy. There's a highly piracy protected program. So there's multiple ways that media is changing, because you've seen that the last 5 to 7 years, the video consumption has gone up, skyrocketed.
On demand is all over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I'm tired of counting all the streaming services that are out there. And everybody's getting into the business of streaming.
That's right. So like Twitch and other companies are using, approximately the cost of production has become very high. Now they have to change that so that they can offer that savings to the people who are sitting at home and watching this. And with ATSC 3.0, it becomes much more seamless. So you can take a video stream that we are doing like right now and push it out through the channel in the cloud and bring it to somebody who's sitting with a set-top box and tune it on a channel on your TV.
And get the exact content. The thing that explodes, so Aby, you'll appreciate this. I wish you'd have been there because you'd have been laughing. I meet this guy, very successful entrepreneur. He's introduced me and he's grilling me if I understand what CPM is.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking about the blockchain. I'm like, do you fundamentally understand what I'm trying to explain to you? CPM goes away.
Right.
It becomes cost per one.
Right.
Because, whether you could literally build multiple streams of a movie, and if it's a 10-year-old, there will be a scene that won't show up. An alternate scene will come in, right? When it comes to targeting the right customer and the right advertisement, if it's advertisement based, it's going to be the right advertisement. It's no longer about a CPM model on Facebook where you just throw everything through the wind and hope you got the right audience. It's going to be the right audience.
Right. And
whether you like it or not.
That's right.
Yeah, because if your product doesn't sell, it's probably more on you than the broadcaster.
There you go.
That's right. And look at one of the famous shows, Game of Thrones, right? So now they made all this money. They did all these different series, and they had multiple alternate endings at that. So if they had connected with that particular series, with that a bunch of blockchain users coming in, and they can see that, and immediately the response time, they can say, okay, we have ending A, B, C, and D. Now this D is much more popular than C or A. Now let's go with let's make it available for the D ending to the public, right? So now you have a group of people who are very loyal fans of Game of Thrones, and all of a sudden, now you have a second and a third versions of Game of Thrones, then that keeps continuing.
They'll continue. They'll pay more to see a new version.
Exactly. And that's where the power of blockchain. It's real time, much more interesting, quicker. The power of data is much more valuable than looking at traditional data today.
Aby, what's really powerful about that, think about this, Pete. I didn't hit this, but this is massive. When you're a movie producer, you create multiple endings, and you're only able to monetize one in the past. Now you can, so what usually becomes a cost center has now become a profit center.
Correct. Yeah.
And this is just one small example of what we're talking about. And what we're talking about on each one of these sessions, we are discovering things, ideas, ways to use the blockchain. And Sean, I don't know about you, man. We're not even scratching the surface of this conversation.
Not even scratching.
Not even
I
scratching.
want to invite Aby back again.
Oh, there's
Absolutely.
no doubt about it there. Aby, phenomenal, very intriguing. Congratulations for all your work, the things you've been doing, what you're doing now, where you're going, which we want to find a way to get on your bandwagon somehow. You know what I mean? And be part of all that. So thank you so much for being our special guest. And Sean, thank you as always, and being my co-host on this phenomenal show. It's taking off. It's blowing up. We're excited. Sean, we always do this at the end. It's a little teaser. You know, that's one of the things I talked to you about, capturing your audience. How about session 7? Any idea of where we're going to go there?
Session 7. Session 7 is the perfect number. So 7 is the perfect number and 8 is the new beginning. So I'll give you a little hint. On session 7, we're going to translate how the average person can have the perfect number in being able to monetize and make money on the blockchain next session. And then we'll talk about what you do with that new growth for a new beginning in session 8. So really excited about next session, monetization.
Love it. It's music to my ears. Guys, thanks a lot. Have a good one, and God bless.
Thank you, Pete.
Bless
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
Sean.
you.
God bless. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
All right, a big thanks again to Aby Alexander, our special guest today, the USA president for Thompson Broadcast. And of course, my co-host, Sean O'Brien Brem. I want to thank you for being with us again here, and all of you that are writing to us, sending us your comments, your feedback through my YouTube channel. Keep it coming, because what we want to do here is make sure that we're creating content for you so that you can learn and you can tap into all the possibilities with blockchain. Again, this program is brought to you by Blockchain Ecosystems, powered by CrowdPoint Technologies. Thank you so much for being with us today. We're on every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel, Pete Delatorre, and I will humbly ask you to subscribe to my channel. So have a fantastic week. Take care of yourselves, and God bless.